What if I told you the most famous cookie in America didn't start as an original idea, didn't invent its own category, and became a global icon through competition, industrial strategy, and a century of calculated evolution? This isn't just the story of a snack, it's the story of how modern food brands are built through timing, technology, marketing power, and global expansion. And once you understand how Oreo actually rose to the top, you'll see it less like a cookie and more like a case study in how the modern food world really works. The story begins at the start of the 20th century, when America's food system was changing faster than ever before. Small bakeries and local goods were being replaced by factory production. Urban populations were growing, transportation networks were improving, and grocery stores were shifting toward packaged, branded foods. People were beginning to trust products that came sealed, labeled, and consistent every single time. In 1898, several regional bakeries merged to form the National Biscuit Company, later known as Nabisco. Their mission was simple but powerful: produce baked goods at massive scale and distribute them across the entire country. Standardization was the future. Shelf life was power. Branding was becoming just as important as taste. Then, in 1908, a chocolate sandwich cookie called Hydrox entered the market. It featured two dark chocolate wafers with a sweet white cream filling. The product was simple, affordable, and successful. Consumers liked the contrast of bitter cocoa and sweet filling. The sandwich format worked. The category was born. 4 years later, on March 6, 1912, Nabisco introduced its answer, the Oreo biscuit. This is the first major reality most people don't know. Oreo was not the first sandwich cookie. It entered the market as a direct competitor. But what happened next would show the growing power of branding and distribution in the industrial food era. The first Oreos were produced in Nabisco's New York City factory in the Chelsea district and sold in metal tins with glass tops to maintain freshness. Early advertising positioned them as a premium product. Even at the beginning, Oreo wasn't just competing on taste, it was competing on perception. The origin of the name Oreo remains uncertain. There is no confirmed explanation in company records. Some historians believe it may come from the French word for gold, reflecting early packaging colors. Others believe the name was chosen simply because it was short, distinctive, and easy to remember. In the early packaged food market, memorability was a strategic advantage. Through the 1910s and 1920s, Oreo expanded alongside the growth of national grocery distribution. Rail transport, centralized warehouses, and chain stores allowed products like Oreo to appear consistently across regions. Food was becoming industrial, and Oreo fit perfectly into that system. Over the following decades, the product evolved gradually. The name changed several times, from Oreo biscuit to Oreo sandwich, then Oreo cream sandwich, and eventually the modern Oreo chocolate sandwich cookie. But the most important visual change came in 1952, when Nabisco engineer William Turnier created the detailed embossed design still used today. The geometric and floral pattern wasn't decorative by accident. It made the cookie instantly recognizable, even without packaging, a physical form of brand identity. If you're into real food history like this, don't forget to like and subscribe. Drop your favorite food in the comments. I'll turn its history into the next deep dive story on this channel. Now let's continue the Oreo's journey. As the product scaled, food science became central to its success. Early versions of the cream filling used animal fats, which were common in baking at the time. But as industrial food manufacturing expanded, companies shifted toward vegetable shortenings that were cheaper, more stable, and extended shelf life. Shelf stability wasn't just a convenience, it allowed nationwide distribution without spoilage. By the late 20th century, the filling relied on partially hydrogenated oils, which contained trans fats. When medical research began linking trans fats to heart disease, pressure grew across the food industry. In 2006, the manufacturer reformulated Oreos to eliminate trans fats, replacing them with alternative vegetable oils. One of those replacements was palm oil, an ingredient widely used across modern packaged foods because of its efficiency and stability. But palm oil production has also been associated with deforestation and habitat loss in parts of Southeast Asia. The company behind Oreo, now Mondelez International, committed to sourcing certified sustainable palm oil. Though environmental groups continue to debate how effective those systems are, this reflects a broader reality of modern food production. Large-scale efficiency often comes with complex environmental trade-offs. Think that how does a simple cookie end up connected to global agricultural debates, because by the late 20th century, Oreo had transformed from a national snack into a global product. Expansion into international markets required adaptation. Taste preferences vary widely by region. In China, the sweetness level was reduced. In parts of Asia, flavors like green tea were introduced. In Latin America, caramel-based versions appeared. The strategy was clear: maintain the core identity while adjusting to local tastes. This balance between consistency and localization became one of Oreo's strongest global advantages. By 2012, the brand celebrated its 100th anniversary. More than 450 billion Oreos had been sold worldwide, making it one of the best-selling cookies in history. But global scale also meant global economics. In the early 2010s, Mondelez closed several U.S. production facilities and shifted some manufacturing to Mexico to reduce costs. The decision resulted in job losses and public criticism, including consumer boycotts. This moment highlighted a key truth about modern food brands: even products seen as traditional or American operate within international manufacturing systems designed for efficiency, not geography. When you eat a classic American snack, are you tasting tradition, or are you tasting globalization at the same time? Oreo continued evolving through food innovation. Much of the modern cream formulation was refined by Nabisco food scientist Sam Porcello. Often called Mr. Oreo, his work focused on texture, sweetness balance, and consistency, key factors in large-scale production where every cookie must taste identical. Flavor innovation later became a major growth strategy. Limited edition releases created short-term demand and kept the brand culturally relevant. Some flavors succeeded and became permanent, others disappeared quickly. But the goal wasn't only sales, it was attention. In the digital era, novelty drives visibility. Marketing has always been central to Oreo's dominance. One of the most famous modern examples came during the Super Bowl 47 power outage, when the brand posted the message, "You can still dunk in the dark." The post went viral within minutes and became a landmark case in real-time brand marketing. It showed how food companies now compete not just in grocery aisles, but in cultural moments. But Oreo's influence goes beyond marketing into consumer behavior itself. The twist, lick, dunk ritual became widely associated with the product through decades of advertising. Turning eating into a repeatable behavior increases emotional connection. In food psychology, rituals strengthen brand memory and attachment. From a sensory science perspective, Oreos are engineered for high palatability. The combination of sugar, fat, and texture activates reward responses in the brain. The crisp wafer contrasts with the smooth cream, creating a layered mouthfeel. Designed through extensive testing, this doesn't make the product addictive in a clinical sense, but it does explain why highly processed snack foods are easy to overconsume. Nutritionally, Oreos fall into the indulgent category. They are high in sugar and refined carbohydrates, with minimal fiber or protein. Like most packaged desserts, the priority is taste, texture, and shelf life rather than nutritional density. This reflects a broader pattern in industrial snack development throughout the 20th century. Another commonly misunderstood detail involves dietary classification. Oreos contain no direct dairy ingredients, which leads some consumers to consider them plant-based. However, they are manufactured on equipment that also processes milk products, meaning trace cross-contact may occur. For strict dietary requirements, this distinction matters. As the brand grew, legal protection of its visual identity became another priority. Mondelez has taken legal action against retailers whose store brand packaging closely resembled Oreo's design. In a crowded snack market, visual recognition is a valuable commercial asset. Today, Oreo exists at the intersection of multiple food history forces: industrial manufacturing, global supply chains, ingredient reformulation, environmental concerns, behavioral marketing, and cultural branding. Its success reflects not just a popular taste, but a system built around scale, efficiency, and constant adaptation. And this is the deeper truth behind the story. Oreo didn't become the world's best-selling cookie because it was the first. It succeeded because it was better positioned, stronger distribution, stronger branding, continuous reformulation, global localization, aggressive marketing, and constant visibility in culture. From a competitor product in 1912 to a global icon today, Oreo represents the evolution of modern food itself. A product shaped by technology, economics, consumer psychology, and a century of industrial strategy. So the next time you twist one open, You're not just holding a cookie, you're holding a piece of modern food history, a product shaped by competition, science, globalization, and one of the most powerful branding machines ever built. And if this kind of deep food history changed the way you look at something you've seen your whole life, hit like, share this with someone who loves real food stories, and subscribe, because the history behind everyday foods is full of hidden systems, untold rivalries, and stories most people never hear.